Thor Odinson is the god of thunder, one of Earth's mightiest heroes, and he has faced many threats over the course of his life, but the greatest may have been the being called Gorr, the God Butcher. Long ago, a mortal made a simple vow to kill all gods, and with the power of the All Black Necrosword, he started down a path of darkness. What ignited Gorr's vendetta with the gods, and what are the secrets of his weapon, the All Black Necrosword? We look to cover all of that and more as we give you the history of Gorr, the God Butcher.
All gods will die.
Gorr the God Butcher first appeared in Thor God of Thunder #1 in January of 2013. He was created by writer Jason Aaron and artist Esad Ribic during the Marvel Now initiative. The God Butcher storyline is quite possibly the greatest Thor story ever told and one of the best story arcs in all of comics. Jason Aaron and Esad Ribic presented an amazing story told through multiple generations that is just as beautiful to look at as it is to read. If you ever wanted to pick up a Thor comic, this is the one you should absolutely check out. One of the many reasons for the success of this series is the introduction of the villainous Gorr the God Butcher, a villain so well written that he has easily become one of the greatest in Marvel lore, a character that was able to break Thor physically and mentally. Gorr's story begins many centuries ago on a planet with no name. We're introduced to a young Gorr possessing a crippled leg and his mother as the two forage for scraps. You see, the planet was nearly barren, with Gorr and his people being on the brink of starvation every day. His mother had only an apple, which she left as a tribute for the gods, so that they may watch over them. A young inquisitive Gorr begins to question the gods and wonder why they have to give them food in order to get food in return. And if the gods were so generous, why did they not protect his father when he died from the sun fevers? His mother reassures him that his father lived a long life and that they'll see him again someday. Soon after, a pack of beasts arrive and Gorr's mother would die, protecting him from these creatures. You see, Gorr comes from a tribe of people that are very superstitious. They all pray to their gods every day for water, lush vegetation, or just the means to survive on a day-to-day basis. They firmly believe that their prayers allow them to continue on. When they didn't receive their bountiful harvests, lush jungles, or oasis, they justify it by saying the gods are making them stronger. Gorr, however, does not share these beliefs and has grown to question the gods. Years later, after the death of his mother, Gorr has started a family of his own with his wife Ara. He has many sons and daughters, and Ara is actually pregnant with another one of his sons. His wife, like his mother, was very religious and believed the gods would get them through the harsh conditions of the planet. But eventually, many of Gorr's children would perish due to a combination of starvation and the sun fevers, the same disease that killed his father. He would lose his pregnant wife Ara to an earthquake. And eventually, Gorr was left with only a single son, Agar. Over time, Agar would begin to diminish in strength as he slowly died due to starvation. Gorr eased the suffering of his son by telling him that they would soon reach a forest where they would never go hungry again, trying to keep the boy's hope, but he soon passed. The loss of his entire family and his last remaining child stripped the little hope Gorr had left. He turned his back on the beliefs of his people and began outwardly denying the existence of their gods. He committed blasphemy by his people's standards when he buried his son after his death and continued to renounce the gods. Gorr developed a philosophy that he shared with his people. Gods are evil because if they exist and allow them to suffer like this, then they are evil, or gods simply do not exist. His superstitious people refused to hear the words from Gorr's blasphemous tongue, and they stoned him, leaving Gorr near death. They banished him from their tribe, and Gorr wandered the desert praying to die. While wandering, Gorr witnesses a pair of armored beings hurtling across the sky in combat that crash land hard on the ground nearby. Gorr approached these beings, one clad in golden armor and the other in all black, clearly trying to represent good and evil. Gorr realized that these beings were gods, but his shock turned to rage when the golden armored god extended his hand and pleaded for help. He suffered his entire life waiting for the gods to answer the prayers of his people, of his family, only to receive nothing, and now one lays here asking for his help? Just then the black sword of the other god turned into a goo-like substance, and it bonded itself to Gorr. This was the All Black, the first symbiote. The god in black is the elder god Null, who created the symbiotes, which makes him responsible for all symbiotes such as Venom and Carnage. But that's not revealed until later on. Gorr used his new weapon, the All Black Necrosword, to kill the golden god. He then vowed to seek vengeance against all gods for never answering his prayers, and as the All Black formed a winged armor around him, Gorr left his planet as he set out to kill the gods. While Gorr was born a mere mortal, All Black gave him tremendous power, including flight as well as increased strength and durability. From Gorr's thoughts, he can mold the shape-shifting symbiote to form armor around his body and produce weapons which are limited only by his mind. One of the weapons, All Black the Necrosword, extends from his arms and is made from living darkness. The symbiote also provides him with the ability to regenerate. Gorr can generate living constructs from the All Black, such as his Black Berserkers, which are beings powerful enough to fight Thor to a standstill. After Gorr left his planet, he spent thousands of years murdering every god he could find, which was a slow and laborious process. You might ask how it was possible that there were so many gods for Gorr to murder, and that is because Jason Aaron, when writing the God Butcher story arc, basically reconstructed the way gods were portrayed in the Marvel Universe. Before this, we were really only introduced to gods that are familiar to us from different cultures on Earth, such as Norse, Greek, and Egyptian gods. However, Jason Aaron made it so that other planets and alien species all had their own pantheon of gods as well. Gorr's trail would eventually lead him to Earth around the 9th century, where he killed a god of the Americas and some Slavic gods, which would bring him into conflict with a young Thor Odinson, who was brash and not yet worthy of Mjolnir. They battled to a standstill, but Thor's hubris and underestimation of Gorr almost cost him his life, but he's able to summon a bolt of lightning which knocks them both out. During the battle, the young, stupid god of thunder mentioned Asgard, and this gave Gorr an idea. Instead of hunting gods one by one, he could slaughter multiple gods at once by attacking their realms. Gorr escapes to a cave where he lures Thor and they battle again, but this time Gorr is able to capture the Odinson and torture him. He wants to know the location of Asgard, so he continues to torture and mock Thor, because while his mission is to kill all gods, this part is just for his own enjoyment. To Gorr's annoyance, he tortured Thor for 17 long days without breaking, until the Viking party Thor was traveling with find him and distract Gorr long enough for Thor to break free. Thor uses his battle axe to take off Gorr's right arm, with Thor believing he had slayed the Butcher. This event would rattle Thor, and he asked the Vikings never to speak of it. However, Gorr survived. Not only did he live, but he learned a valuable lesson thanks to the God of Thunder. Not all gods would die easily, and he was not strong enough to kill them all. Not yet. There would be other gods like Thor that are stronger, that have the will to win, and are equipped with centuries of training and enchanted weaponry. Gorr decided to find a new way to achieve his goals, and for his part in helping, the God Butcher vowed to save Thor for last. This was Gorr's first loss, and he was determined to make it his last. Gorr spent the next 1,000 years butchering more and more gods, growing stronger with every god he killed. The reason Gorr earned the nickname the God Butcher is because it was said that he didn't merely kill the gods he targeted, he made them suffer in ways that became more and more brutal. We were even told that he tortured a god of torture to death. As his powers grew, he used the All Black to create an army of powerful minions known as the Black Berserkers to help him in his crusade. Eventually, Thor in the present day once again took notice of Gorr's activities and began hunting him when a prayer summoned him to a world without gods, recognizing Gorr's handiwork when he found the world's deities slaughtered. While Thor hunts for the Butcher, Gorr begins to enact his plan. He attacks the gods of Kronux to lay claim to the Pool of Forevers. He used the blood of the time gods of the planet to enter the time stream, going back to the beginning of the universe to slaughter one of the first Elder Gods, taking its heart as a trophy. After encountering Thor the Avenger, he enters the pool once more, this time traveling to the far future, an alternate future that would become known as 14412. On this Earth, Loki had eradicated all life on Earth to make Thor suffer, which is something Gorr also plans to do. He claims a desolate world to serve as his base, and he begins to enslave all the gods he would capture, including all the gods of Asgard except for Thor Odinson. Thor, who was the Allfather at this point, was under constant siege by an army of Black Berserkers on an empty Asgard. Trapped, forced to sit on his failures as Gorr routinely tormented him with his Black Berserkers. Over the next 900 years, he has the gods he captured mine the broken planets and their cores for material to build his ultimate weapon, the God Bomb. You see, this is the realization of Gorr's idea that he had all those years ago. Because the God Bomb is a device he forced a god of bombs to design, which when powered by the All Black, would be able to exterminate all gods across the entirety of the time stream. Also during this time, Gorr is able to use the All Black to create constructs of his wife Ara and his son Agar. Unbeknownst to Gorr at the time, his son would inherit his father's self-loathing as well as his inquisitive nature. Thor the Avenger from present-day Earth 616 had followed Gorr into the time stream, except he arrived 900 years after the God Butcher. He finds King Thor, who he mistakes for Odin at first, and the two join forces to take down their shared enemy. Gorr senses the arrival of the second Thor and pays it no mind, an act of hubris from a god, and a mistake which will come to cost Gorr. Instead, he chooses to send his black berserkers into the past to capture young Thor, the only god to ever best him. He enslaved this Thor and wanted him around to watch him achieve his ultimate goal. Gorr, with all his power, had become a god. Not only that, but a god with the power to end all gods. The young Thor is brash, aggressive, and full of fight, another miscalculation of the God Butcher. He attempts to destroy the God Bomb with a piece of star, but he is blown off planet where he meets up with King Thor and Thor the Avenger, and the three Thors plan to assault Gorr and his planet one last time. Witnessing the defiance in young Thor causes Gorr to feel something he has not felt in a long time. Fear. He orders his black berserkers to kill all remaining gods so that he may increase his power. The assault of the three Thors, while valiant, ultimately fails, as Gorr has grown even stronger, and he captures them, forcing them to watch as he sets off to end their kind. When Gorr activated the God Bomb, the symbiote construct of his wife called him out as a god. Angry at this accusation, he killed her. The construct of Gorr's son Agar witnessed this, and decides to help Thor, realizing his father has become the very thing he hated. He sets Thor the Avenger free, and prays for him to kill his father. The praise of Agar, plus every god across space and time, charge Thor, as he wields two Mjolnir and absorbs the blast of the God Bomb, as well as the All Black. Using its power, Thor was able to weaken Gorr, with Agar denouncing his father as the god of hypocrisy. Just then, the younger Thor comes in and finally kills the God Butcher. And so ends the tale of Gorr the God Butcher. However, it would later be seen that Gorr wielded a power stronger than the All Black. The power of popularity. As Gorr had become an extremely popular character amongst comic book readers, the character was very much Jason Aaron's baby, so before departing the Thor books, he brought the character back one last time in the King Thor series of comics. In the future of King Thor, Loki takes control of the All Black and unknowingly revives Gorr, whose consciousness had bonded to it. Gorr easily defeats Loki and Thor, who is still the All-Father at this point. He takes back control of the All Black and shapes it into the Annihilation Blade, a weapon powerful enough to destroy whole planets. When he is eventually defeated again, he reveals that his body was just a construct of the All Black, and he began to infect the very universe itself, calling it the All Black Necrosword. Eventually, he is stopped by Loki and Thor, who ends up destroying the All Black, returning Gorr to a mortal with no memory. While Gorr has yet to appear again, his legacy is long-lasting. He's the reason for Thor becoming unworthy, as Thor is told by an all-seeing Nick Fury that Gorr was right. The universe would have been better off without gods, a thought that haunted Thor since his first battle with Gorr the God Butcher. Gorr also remains an extremely popular character in comics, with many believing him to be one of the greatest villains of all time. Whether Gorr appears again is yet to be seen, but it is safe to say that the God Butcher has safely cemented his place in history. If you liked the video, make sure to give it a huge thumbs up and comment down below who you want to see us cover next. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay up to date on all of our latest content. And until next time, guys, stay versed.